dear students. Hope that you all are fine, and today we are going to start our first SST class for class 7, and our topic name is Rock, Minerals and Soil, unit number 1 from your SST book. And before starting that, we need to understand what are rocks. Basically, without starting the chapter, do you know what are rocks? Rocks are solid stone. They may be small or heavier in size, and you often observe these rocks around the sea coast. When you go to the beach, on the coastal area, on the beach side, you often observe the large stones. These are the examples of rocks. And you also observe the rocks around the railway tracks. There are small stones present around the railway track. They are also the example of rocks that you could take from your common life. So first question is, what is a rock? Rock is a solid material that makes up most of the earth's surface. The earth's surface is made up of rocks and soil and minerals. So rock is the basic components. Rocks, minerals and soil are those components that make the earth's surface. Rocks, there are two main types of rocks, porous and non-porous. On the types are on the basis of structure or grains, which types of grains are present in it. For example, the porous rocks has grains are rounded, space between them. If these are a porous rock, is an example of a porous rock, the grains are having spaces between them. In these spaces, the water can penetrate if they have any hole. So that is why these rocks are known as porous rocks. The water can enter through these rocks, while the non-porous rocks do not have spaces between the grains, and the grains are having straighter sides, as you may see in this diagram, and you may also see the diagram in your book on page number 2. The other question, what are rocks made up of? Rocks are made up of minerals and their grains. Grains of minerals and different materials are combined together, and different types of minerals and their grains are combined together to form a rock. Rocks are made up of grains of minerals such as quartz, calcium carbonate and feldspar. These minerals may be of two types. They may be organic and they may be inorganic. Organic rocks that are relevant to living organisms. For example, that decayed part of living organism, shells of animals, they form the small grains of the rocks in the form of sedimentary rocks. For example, calcium carbonate. Calcium carbonate is obtained from the dead, decayed organisms. It is organic material that may be obtained from the skeleton and shells of the animal. Inorganic substances that are relevant to non-living organisms. So there are two types of materials in the rocks, organic and inorganic. Clear? The next topic is types of rock. Sedimentary rocks and metamorphic rocks. These are the three main types of rocks. First example is igneous rock. Before starting the igneous rock, did you ever heard about the volcano? What is a volcano? You ever observed that volcano in the movies, in the cartoon, they show you like that. In the documentary, they will show you a rock like that is having a pointed cone-like opening, or through which this opening some hot molten material, lava, the molten rock, the liquid form of the rock arises, or it have a dark cloud around it at the top of the this liquid material or this molten rock came from? This molten rock is definitely become molten due to the high temperature. Under the Earth's surface, due to high temperature or extreme temperature, the rocks melt down and form a molten substance that is known as lava. So the igneous rocks are formed in the form of igneous rocks are basically volcanic rocks formed when hot molten rocks found in the lower parts of the Earth's crust. It is due to the extreme temperature or hot temperature under the Earth's surface. It is formed. So igneous rock is basically formed with the volcanic rocks. Granite and gabbro are the examples of igneous rocks. The second type is sedimentary rock. So the second type of rock is sedimentary rock. Sedimentary rocks are formed when sediments eroded from rocks, skeletal bones and shells. What are sediments? Sediments are small particles. So sediments are the small particles of eroded rocks, skeletal bones and shell. Limestone, sandstone and chalk are the example of sedimentary rock. You may consider a sedimentary rock as a porous rock that have pores in it. Their grains have space in it, and definitely they are made up of some organic and some inorganic substances. As we said that skeletal bones. Skeletal bones belongs to living organism. Shell belongs to living organism. Rocks may be of living and non-living. So these are made up of living and non-living components. It is a combination. Limestone, sandstone and chalk are the examples. How sedimentary rocks are formed? In a river bed, the sediments settle down into the water. These are the sediments. Into the water. Consider it is a river. There are 4 steps of sedimentary rocks, formation of sedimentary rocks. First one is sedimentation. Sediments settle down in the river bed, and this diagram you will see on the book page number 4 also. If you want to take the guidance from the book, keep open your book page number 4. So in the water on the river bed, the sediments settle down, start settling, and compaction takes place. Compaction, the sediments start becoming closer to each other, start joining to each other and start forming layers. So here they start making layers, compaction. Further compaction takes place or the sediment starts settling down in the layers, forming the layers. Number 4 is cementation, where salt or the crystal of salt make them a mixture, a complete layer of rock that is known as sedimentary rocks. As these rocks are made up of different materials like rocks, skeletal bones and the shell, so they are having 3 different types or different types of grains. So these grains have spaces in it. These rocks are porous, they have space in it, so they allow the water to move through from it. The third type is metamorphic rock. So the third type of rock is metamorphic rock. Metamorphic rock are formed when rock changes its form under pressure and temperature. Under certain pressure and temperature, it changes its form from one to another. For example, marble. Marble is formed from granite. Granite changes its form due to the change in temperature and pressure into the marble, and carbon, that is also known as coal. Carbon changes form into the diamond. It forms diamond crystal due to the sudden change in certain temperature and pressure. The carbon changes its form into the diamond. These type of rocks are known as metamorphic rocks. So these were the 3 types of rocks. Limestone landscape. Limestone basically landscape sedimentary rocks. It is made up of sedimentary rocks that is made up of sediment. Sedimentary rock, as we discussed, it is having a porous structure. It is an example of sedimentary rocks. Sedimentary rocks are made up of sediments that are consisting of rocks, eroded particles of rocks, bones or skeletons, and shells. So, the large area that contains sedimentary rocks are known as sedimentary landscapes. Definitely, if they formed into the river, so they are also present or found around the river or the areas where our lakes and streams are present. Limestone is a sedimentary rock. Rainwater and river water erode it and creates holes and cracks. In these sedimentary rocks, some holes and cracks are present. These holes are called swallow holes or sinkholes. Sometimes river and lakes and streams disappear around the sedimentary landscapes because it has holes in it. Due to these sinkholes and due to these swallow holes. These sinkholes disappear water around the sedimentary rocks as they allow. For example, if it is a sedimentary rock, it is the surface of a sedimentary rock and the river flow from it. So the water definitely move through or across these sedimentary rocks will definitely settle down and disappear from the surface. So this is how the sedimentary landscape disappear water from the surface and form aquifers. Aquifers basically the underground water reservoirs that are formed in the result of sedimentary rocks. In the result of this swallow or sinkholes under the ground, this settlement of water is known as aquifer. These are the natural reservoirs formed as a result of sinkholes or swallow holes. This natural water reserve is known as aquifer. Our next topic is how do stalactites and stalagmites are formed. Not every time stalactites and aquifers are formed in the result of sedimentary rocks or in the result of swallow holes and sinkholes. Sometimes stalactites and stalagmites are also formed in the result of these holes or cracks in the rocks. For example, it is a rock that is having a crack and opening in it. The water enters into this rock through this hole. Definitely water has some minerals and some solid particles in it when it flows into the rock. So these particles remain stick on the sides of the hole and forming a structure. But some of the particles, water fall drop down and it also settles on the base of the rock. Later on, what happened to this? The water evaporates and the solid materials that were present around it change its form into the stalactite. Like this. how after some time, due to the deposition of minerals and soil and different particles that runs through the rock with the water, it forms a lump or a solid material inside the rock that is known as stalactite. Another material that is prepared or another lump that is prepared or deposited at the base or bottom of the rock is known as stalagmite. Later on, stalactite and stalagmite further deposits and grow. They both grow and form a pillar. So, this is how stalactite and stalagmite forms and grow and form a pillar into the rock. This is how the stalactite and stalagmite forms. Okay students, you have 4 questions in your homework. Do read the chapter carefully. With the help of lecture, you will definitely find out the answers and keep that in your mind before starting your work. You have to update your index, mention the chapter name and mention the date and question number 1 to 4. Then prepare the title page for the chapter and then write down the question with the black pen, write down the answer with the blue pen. Good luck, keep studying, stay at home, stay safe. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.